I love kicking off a session with some good tavern music at Kingdom Come Deliverance. Alright, theme of the day. Should you play this game? More specifically, with the second game coming out this year, should you be playing this game to get up to speed with that game? I would imagine that they're going to have the second game be done in a way that you don't necessarily need to have played the first one, but my question to you would be, why wouldn't you play the first one if you have time? Now, I didn't play this game when it came out. I was busy with other things, and I did do a brief stint in this game right before Chris and I moved to the homestead, and then it just fell by the wayside, and I didn't touch it again until the announcement for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and I went, oh yeah, I actually own that game. I should go give it a shot and actually, play through it. And it's been genuinely a pleasurable experience. There have been some small things that I don't want to say complain about, but I would definitely nitpick at. But for the most part, this has been a very pleasurable experience. And I would say that if you've got the free time, and this is the key, if you have the free time to do this before the second game comes out, I would say that you absolutely should. Now, the caveat to that is the game is massive, and the thing is that anything you do in this game, it takes time to build up the skill to do properly, and so you just genuinely suck at everything, more so than in any other game I've played. I was telling somebody the other day, I almost feel like if you go back to like early EverQuest, or maybe even Morrowind to a degree, but really EverQuest 1, this game requires you to put in a lot of time and a lot of effort into different things that you want to get good at, and if you don't do that, you will find the game world punishing you because you're a weakling. And there's no like sliders, to change that. So I mean, there is an easy mode which I'm playing on, but it's not that easy. It is what it is. Here's the hiccup for most people, because the game itself looks amazing. The music is amazing. Generally speaking,
oh dear me,
it's fully voiced, and generally speaking, the voiceovers are pretty good.
God be with you.
They're not perfect. Henry's great.
God bless.
We have trading, buying and selling, weapons, armor, food, quest items, other things. All the RPG trappings are here, but the combat is what turns most people off. And I'll admit that the first time that I did combat, when I tried the game, I was like, ooh, ow, I suck at this. It's really hard. Why? Why is it like this? Why can't it be an easier system? So, we don't have any targets. I'm not in combat right now, but one of the things I can show you is, as an example, here I am. I have a bow. This is something I just want to show you. So, in the early stages of this game, which I have not gotten past yet with the bow yet, because I've put my time elsewhere, and I want to show you why. When you first start off with the bow and you go to pull the bow, it moves all over the place. It sways like that, right? So I can't control that. It's literally, I pull the trigger and it just sways, and there's no marker on the screen, right? So to get good at archery is a lesson in frustration, because the only way to get rid of that bow sway is to get good with the bow. And to get good with the bow, you have to spend time using the bow, doing things like doing archery contests, like the one here. This one's chumps, where you've got like some logs that you shoot at in the river. The other one he's yelling at me to put my weapon away. And then there's an archery contest in Renfail where you shoot at stationary targets like this, and you do sort of learn there's a figure 8 pattern to the sway, which you can predict. It's just a figure 8 pattern. Where it starts kind of depends on where you're aiming at the beginning. Generally speaking, because you do get a crosshair when you are in just normal mode. You'll see that dot right there. But the moment you pull your bow, it goes away. So generally speaking, you can kind of point that slightly above whatever it is that you're going to be looking at, like this target right here. Then I would draw my bow. And let's just see if I can hit this. Yeah, I did hit it right there. So you can sort of get better at predicting. Let's go recollect my arrow. Mutt, get out of the way. I want my arrow. I don't want to talk to my dog. Getting good at the bow takes a lot of time. You can also go hunt things. That's really tricky. I know what a lot of people suggest is they're just like, just go shoot cows. And I've been doing that a little bit, and it's been leveling up my bow, which is really nice. So at level 5, essentially, you get rid of the bow sway, right? So you have to put in the time to get good at the bow. Now, I haven't wanted to focus on the bow yet because I was more focused on I need to be able to survive sword combat because I kept getting wrecked over and over and over. All right, they're yelling at me to have because I have a sword out. I kept getting wrecked in combat, and I thought it was just because I was sucking at the combat system. Because we'll probably, I don't think we can do it from here. We'll have to fast travel over to Renfail, and I'll show you the Captain Bernard thing, and then we'll take a look at his training lessons so you can get a better idea of sword combat. But I was thinking that I really sucked at sword play, and I just wasn't getting the combat of this game, and it turns out that wasn't the case. And nor is it the case for many people who are just like, the combat is so hard. It's actually not. What it is that you're starting at such a basic level as you do with the bow, that you have to go train. And you have to spend the time to level up your sword so that you can get better at defeating enemies in the field with the sword. It has nothing to do with you as a player. It has everything to do with Henry's ability as a swordsman, and that's the key difference here is you have to put in the time to get better with the sword, and so you have to go train with Captain Bernard, and that's just a fact if you want to get better. And once your character levels up in the sword, if you go back and face the same bandits you did before, you'll notice that instead of your attacks just bouncing off them and them continually parrying or blocking your attacks, you'll notice that your attacks start to land more frequently as you get better in the sword. And the same thing with Captain Bernard. You'll notice the improvement because you'll start to actually land attacks. In the beginning, he's going to kick your ass every time. We'll go take a look at that right now. So swordplay and combat is, some of the tricky stuff in here. But once you realize how that's supposed to work, and you understand that and you embrace it, it makes total sense. And then you're like, oh, I'm meant to suck. I am meant to feel like I'm nobody and I can't do it. I'm meant to feel like a weakling. I need to literally level up Henry's abilities to be able to actually go do this. So there are skills for everything in the game. I mean, everything in the game is like a skill. And the complexities here from an RPG's perspective is like everything, like all of your weapons and your armor, it all degrades, it all takes damage. There is a smell factor in this game, a cleanliness factor. So if you walk up to NPCs and you're bloody or your armor is distressed and torn up, they will comment on it, and you'll have a negative, you'll have a penalty to your interactions with that NPC because you look and smell bad. And then things like smell factor is also a part of whether or not you can sneak up on somebody because they might smell you even if they might not hear you. There's a ton of stuff going on here. But everything is a skill. So, your main level, essentially, I'm level 9 right now, and then we have our stats, and then there's combat abilities, and then there's normal skills and other stuff. So first and foremost, let's just look at, not to confuse the issue, but let's look at a skill like, let's look at combat, look at swords, because we were talking about swords earlier. So I'm level 10 in swords now. And I've put a lot of time into learning the sword. So my warfare is up there, my defense is up there, and my sword is up there. So as you level up skills, you get perks, and these are these things that are behind me. So like Blunt Strike, um, Wrath Strike, Scar Maker, Run Through, so on and so forth. And every few levels in that ability, you get a new perk that you can choose from. And these are all like combos. So if I pull this up, it's going to show me. This is going to look weird to you until you understand the combat. But like these are the combos that you can learn, which you use in swordplay. There are a ton of them. It's a pain in the ass. And there's combos for every weapon. So you really kind of need to, in my opinion, focus on a weapon, just one weapon for now. I went with a longsword. Get good with one weapon before you go to something else, because you're going to start off at level 0 in that other weapon. And so you're not going to be able to hit anything with that other weapon. So you're going to have to grind it up with Bernard. Yeah, it's just, for me, I chose longsword, and that's what I'm sticking with. Eventually I want to learn the bow, because I want to have like a Robin Hood type huntsman build who's just a hunter, pretty good with the longsword, pretty good with the bow, runs around, hunting. I don't want to wear plate mail, stuff like that. But right now I'm doing what I needed to survive, to get coin and other things, and follow some of the main quest lines. So everything has all these things are skills, and each skill can be broken down into the perks that are within that skill. And you could take these passive abilities or active abilities under all of these to just make your character better, stronger, faster, etc. And there are things like, if you go over to the stats and look at strength, I think it's like stronghold. Like when you block an attack with a shield, it's going to have a reduced stamina cost. That's kind of cool. Clinch Master, you have a 40% higher chance of overpowering your opponent in a clinch. So when you do that clinch in combat, you suddenly have a 40% passive chance to just do it, above and beyond your strength bonuses and everything else. Well, you don't get that right away. That's level 4, so you have to train your swordplay before you get that. So until you get that, you're going to lose every clinch you ever do, period. You're meant to lose every clinch you ever do, because you don't have that yet. Mule, Tight Grip, I've got Head Cracker now, which gives me a 10% chance of knocking out an opponent with a blow to the head. So all of these things can be broken down. It's incredibly complex. You have a horse. I also have a dog. I have a horse and a dog, so you could, it's kind of cool. There are things for hang on, I forgot to talk about this. Go over in skills, and you've got there's a reading skill in this game, and like to read certain books and to learn certain things, you have to be able to read, so you have to train reading. But I got a point in maintenance I can go spend. Hold on, let's do this really quick. Freshly laundered clothes, you have a +1 charisma for the day. If you're wearing boots you repaired yourself, sprinting costs you 20% less. Let's go with that. Alright, so Houndsmaster, controlling your dog. You have to use things like fetch and come here and give him food, and you have to work with your dog to get better at the relationship with your dog. But when you do, I now have the ability to hunt with my dog, so I can send my dog out to find things like bunnies and deer. And later on at level 5, I could teach him to attack on command. So it's worthwhile to just spend time with your dog, just like you would in real life. And horsemanship, riding your horse around. I'm currently level 6, and so, always be riding your horse is one of the big things. And there's also this survival factor here, which is food. Like my character, if you look over on the stats over here in the middle column, the 3 yellow ones, it says health, energy, and nourishment. My nourishment is 35. I'm hungry, so I need to eat some food. And food has a freshness factor. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Represented over here, you'll see these numbers. But I have a perk, which I took recently, which allows me to eat stuff that's not necessarily... Because if I were to eat this and I was just a normal character, I would get food poisoning, which would reduce all my stats. I would lose hit points. It would lose stamina. It sucks. But I took the perk so I could just eat anything. So let's just go ahead and eat that. You're going to notice over here on the right-hand side, my nourishment is going up because I'm eating bread. And essentially what you want to do is you want to get that as close to 100 or slightly over 100 if you can. I've overeaten at this point. It says you use the perk, Human Dustbin. That's that perk I have to eat bad food. I'm overstuffed right now, which you can see on this icon over there, which actually means I have a penalty to, I think it's like, honestly, I don't remember. I have negatives to something right now. You have gorged too much food and feel sick, your maximum stamina is lowered. So I overate. It's all good. Everything is here. It's an awesome RPG. There are great cutscenes. There's great writing. There's great voice acting. We're going to go meet up with Bernard right now so I can show you guys that part of the game. And we can go train with him. We're going to fast travel across the map. You can have random encounters here. You have a chance to avoid them. Some events can happen along the road where you choose to stop or not. You do get hungry. Time passes. You know, you get energy levels get affected. All things get affected here. When you sleep, when you rest, you get hungry. And you better not let your character not eat because it's bad. But there is a level of complexity to this game that is very impressive. Oh, no, Captain Bernard. No, come here, buddy. Bernard, don't go anywhere, buddy. Let's go train.
Good health to you.
Oh, he might be done for the day. No, here we go. All right. So, this is Captain Bernard. Normally he's up by the training pen. We caught him on his way into town. So, I want to train. So, he's not actually offering me right now. Because he's on his way out from that. So the training he's offering me is different than the practicing. The training he's offering is related to if I want to get a skill point, I can just buy a skill point rather than having to work for it. This is where he normally is. So let's go ahead and rest. I don't know if he'll come back. I want to go till 10 o'clock tomorrow. While this is spinning, I want to talk about one more thing, because we're talking about should you play this game. We're 18 minutes into this video, so the one thing hopefully you've learned by this point is it's a super in-depth game. And I would say that if you're going to play this game, you need to be willing to put the time in it, because you're going to have to, some people would call it grinding. You can call it what you will. You will have to level up abilities, and unless you're willing to sink hundreds of hours into this game, you're not going to be able to get good at everything. You're going to have to pick your battles. So here's Captain Bernard. We can see some of the mocap voice acting and etc. here.
Can I ask?
You know, he's not teaching anymore. I wonder if it's because there's a certain level of training before he won't train you anymore.
Can I ask? Thank you. That's all I wanted to know.
Oh, here we go. I'm spacing out this morning, guys. Here's the training that he offers, right? So, training combat with a practice weapon, training combat with a real weapon, learning combos, learning master strikes. You can learn defense. You can learn the axe and the sword. These three right here are if you want perk points or points in your main levels. You can pay for them here. All of these other ones are practicing. If you practice with a wooden sword or the practice weapon, you earn less skill points, but it's safest because he doesn't do any damage to you. It's just, you're practicing. If you train with a real weapon, he will actually take your health and stamina and knock you all the way down to like near death, and then you have to go recover from that, whether that's at your home or with medicinals, however you want to do. So if you want to come in here, like let's just show you combos really quick, because that'll show you the combat in the sword combat. It'll also give you some voiceover stuff that you can listen to.
Hurt your opponent. It's no use just flailing at him and hoping you get lucky. You need technique, but using skilled moves is no easy matter. There's no miraculous strikes you can learn that will ensure you win every duel. You've got to work those techniques into your combat. Force your opponent into a position you want him in, and then attack unexpectedly.
Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand.
See? I strike from overhead, then slash from the side, and back swing low down. So you expect me to strike from below, but then I turn the sword and strike you with the other side. Once more. Defend.
Okay.
Now, you try it. Strike from above, then from the right, then slash. The strikes have to follow quickly, one after the other. As soon as one lands, you start the next. You have to keep exactly to the sequence, otherwise it won't come off. Slash from above, slash from the right, slash from below. Go!
Now, this is where a lot of people have, I think, misunderstood the combat of this game, because they're so used to the way it's done in other games. This game, it's all about the fact that your character starts at level 0. Henry is a peasant when you start this game. He's literally the son of the village blacksmith who gets thrust into this position of needing to learn the sword and the bow to survive, and then getting called into service by the lord that his father served. But he starts at level 0 and everything, so it's like he's lived his whole life as a nobody, and suddenly he's, having to learn these things to get good. It will be a long time before you get good. I have spent hours, I'm not joking either, hours of real time practicing with Bernard to get my skill levels up high enough so that I could go complete quests to defeat bandits, because that's just the way this game is designed. You can't just fast track to anything. You have to put your time in. Combos are a big thing, and you'll notice this star pattern in the center of my screen. That represents the combat zones. So I'm holding my weapon right now in the right hand zone, so I'm like this. So if I want to hold it overhead, I would move it up, and now I'm in an overhead stance. That took too long, so it booted me out of it. Hang on, let's go back. Let's just do normal practice here.
I'd like to train a bit, just lightly, with practice weapons.
Right. Let's get to it.
Let's choose
What
our
weapon
practice
would you like to
weapon.
try?
We're going to go longsword.
I still don't feel entirely competent with the bast.
We're going to skip the dialogue and just get into it. So, this represents the combat zones. So, your character holds the sword. You'll notice me moving it around. And it moves to the different combat zones. That's the right thumbstick, and I'm on the console. Oh, that's a grapple. It's a clinch. Ah, he swung and he missed. So there's swinging. So once you know your combat zones, I'm defending right now, so I don't get my butt kicked. Once you know your combat zones, then you decide, well, are you going to slash like so, or are we going to stab like so? So there's two different things. There's stabbing and there's slashing. And he's gonna most of the time kick your butt. And you also have to be conscious of like moving around the battlefield. I got him. So in these cases, what you're looking to do is, combos are various movements where you're like slash, stab, and you got to go in different directions. So it's like you go down, up. So you're constantly moving combat zones. So you notice the red. Watch how the red changes, and that's because I'm choosing where to strike from when I get a chance to. And he's gonna block some things, like right there. And then your job is to just attack with different combinations and hopefully eventually hit him. Now, while you're practicing, you'll notice that for the most part, he's defending against all my stuff. And he insults you. He insults you while you're going sometimes. Your job when practicing here is not to necessarily land blows. It's to practice your sword craft. And I just reached a new level in Warcraft. Do you see that happen just up ahead? That's because I'm practicing. And your sword play, your defense, all of that goes up by practicing. Now you can go out there and practice against bandits too, but when you're practicing against bandits, you know, you're taking damage to your armor, you're taking damage to your weapon, you could potentially die. Yes, you can get loot, so it's risk versus reward. But here you can practice in a safe space and realize that you're not meant to necessarily land attacks right away. You're meant to have your attacks repelled because your sword sucks. But as you level up, you'll eventually start to land attacks on him. And he'll still kick your butt from time to time. And then when you're done, you surrender. Notice he insulted me several times during the fight. It's a great component to that. So we've earned a point in warfare now, and overall we've, you know, expended some time here to learn how to get better at sword play, and that helps our attacks actually land on the bandits and the things we're coming up against in the wild. So, at the end of the day, should you play this game? I do think you should. This is honestly, it's hard for me. I haven't given a final review on this game yet, but I'm leaning towards an 8.5 out of 10 right now. Like, it's really, really solid. There are some things that I'm not a huge fan of, and there still is a little bit of jank in the game. I think that sometimes as much as I understand the combat system, I do feel like sometimes it's a little overly complex. Like, I do wish it would level up faster, because trust me, trying to level up the bow has been a lesson in, like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to sink hours into this to get it to the point where the bow sway stops. And it kind of made me avoid using the bow. I've just gone out there and learned how to use the sword, because I'm like, I don't really want to have to do that right now. Maybe later on when I've got some free time on my hand. But that's very frustrating because you can't hit anything. And the only solution I've found is what other people have suggested, which is go find these cows. As a matter of fact, are there cows right near where we're standing? There's sheep. So we can go up here as an example and dismount, and because sheep are slow moving, now they run the risk of pissing off a farmer. Obviously you still have to hit them. I haven't tried sheep before. I'm a little high. So I've killed a few. Actually, they don't appear to stay down. But then you can loot these, get your arrows back, you get mutton. Which also levels up your hunting, if I'm not mistaken, when you loot these corpses. So, anyway, yeah, that's one way to do it, is to come out here and kill sheep. But it gets you points. And this is something where I was just saying, if I had to give it a flaw, it would be that leveling up the bow really sucks. Other than that, it's been a pretty pleasurable experience. There's a few bugs, a few janks. Like I said, 8.5 out of 10 so far. I think you should play it. There's lots of complexities to it, but you do got to work for it. So if you've got the time and you don't mind putting in a little bit of time to have some fun, check it out. I will, of course, be playing the second game when it comes out. I'm currently doing a Let's Play series and occasionally streaming the first game. So if you want to watch, just subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Daily streams happen here and on Twitch because I multi-stream. There's a Discord and Patreon if you want to know more. I'm also a sci-fi and fantasy author. Links are down below. See you next time, everybody.